This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Poachers to pay the price, and a hefty one at that. Marine Resources Minister Michael Pintard making that quite clear after 3 Dominican motherships were captured with 124 crew and over 60,000 pounds of seafood.
There is a commitment to ensure that in that legislation there is increased penalty for especially the boat captain. We are also committed to pursuing diligently, home and abroad, the owners of these vessels, some of whom may be American, Dominicans, and quite possibly even Bahamians. We will investigate and we'll spare no effort to do so. There is a call that is consistent with the view of many of my colleagues that a number of these vessels should be sunk and to make reefs in Bahamian waters.
Pintard commended Bahamian fishermen, asking them to continue to work with the ministry because, after all, they're all in this together.
The call was made for stiffer, for fines to be hefty. The courts delivered a remarkable set of fines, ranging, I believe, somewhere in the vicinity of 2.3 million, some rounded off, which I like very much, to 3 million. And that created enthusiasm for a few days before persons went back on the war path. This cannot be a moving goalpost. Progress is being made. Are we there yet? No. Are we making progress? Yes.
The minister commended the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and all those who assisted with the capture of the poachers. As for the 120-plus Dominicans caught, no word yet on when they'll appear before a magistrate. While by law, Bahamian fishermen have the right to carry arms on the high seas, a real assurance considering things sometimes get violent. Case in point, the shootout between Dominican and Defense Force officers this past weekend. Local fishermen would tell you that's something they've long had to contend with. Still, Foreign Affairs Minister Darren Henfield is urging the group not to take matters into their own hands.
Please do not engage these fishermen on the high sea. When you encounter them, call the authorities who are trained and suited and equipped to deal with them and to assure them that we're doing our best to protect our fisheries resources, not only for them this generation now, but for generation of Bahamians yet to come. That's our job, that's our sworn duty, and that's what we're going to do.
Meantime, those new hospital fees the government's counting on to offset lost revenue at the Princess Margaret Hospital could be implemented by year's end. That's as much a timeline Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands was willing to give.
These fees have been in place since the 1970s, okay? And when you change something, you want to change it once. We already had this misstep with the fees in the morgue, okay? You're changing not only fees, but culture. And so if something has been in place for this period of time, we need to make sure we get it right so that when we implement it, you know there can be some pushback, right? We'd like that pushback to be not on the basis of something that was done inappropriately.
And to prepare you for what's to come, the new fees will require those with more to pay more.
If you have insurance and that insurance is paid for by the people of the Bahamas, there's no reason why that insurance cannot be used to the benefit of the public healthcare system. I mean, Bahamians spend almost $80 million a year buying insurance for people like me, for teachers, for nurses, for doctors, for Defense Force officers, etc. And we also have rules that say civil servants don't pay. Now, if I was a civil servant, I would not want a change in policy to mean that I now have to reach into my pocket. But if the people of the Bahamas are paying for a health plan, why shouldn't that health plan benefit the primary healthcare institutions in the country, as opposed to Cleveland Clinic, Jackson Memorial, etc.? That don't make no sense.
As for the hospital's labor issues, the minister says the Public Hospitals Authority is preparing a proposal for the Consultant Physician Staff Association in hopes that what's offered is accepted and the two sides can move on. The CPSA's non-financial issues were recently agreed. What's now been worked out are salaries, stipends, malpractice coverage, health insurance, etc. An attempt to smuggle drugs into the country lands 2 Surinamese men in hospital under heavy police guard. Police say the suspects arrived on an international flight at LPIA after 2 p.m. yesterday. Officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit suspected the men were carrying drugs and took them to the hospital where they were x-rayed and several packages of cocaine were found inside their bodies. As indicated, the men are in hospital. Meantime, 3 American men also have some serious explaining to do. This after officers from the Anti-Corruption and Financial Crime Branch executed a search warrant on a home on Yamacraw Hill Road around 8 o'clock last evening and found a large amount of fraudulent credit cards along with cocaine and $10,000 worth of bitcoins. The men, all occupants of the house, were taken into custody in connection with the find. Meantime, 2 illegal weapons taken off the streets. Hidden in bushes near Excellence Estates were an AR-15 assault rifle with a .380 pistol with 32 rounds of ammunition wrapped in a towel. The suspect managed to escape in a black car. And a new fleet of police cars have hit the road, an investment of over $6 million. Police Commissioner Anthony Ferguson says the vehicles will assist in beefing up patrols in high-crime areas.
Basically, it'll be in all of the communities, particularly in those communities where you have high criminal activities, and we always talk about hotspots. We know where they are, and you know where they are. And we want to make sure that you are safe while you're shopping. You have those shopping areas. You all know where you all like to go and shop. And we want to, when you look around, I want you to see the patrol cars nearby. So the criminals would see them and deter them from taking any kind of action they would wish to take.
The commissioner reminded, though, that the community has a role to play in the ongoing fight against crime.
All of us live here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, each and every one of us. And persons who visit the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, they love this place. I love this place. And so it's very, very important that we come together as a team and to make it very difficult for criminals to operate in our communities. You can expect to see more visibility. There are a number of vehicles on the road now, but could you imagine what could happen when you see more vehicles out? That means more persons are mobile and they can move around quickly and respond to incidents and cover a wide area. So it would act as a deterrent to criminals.
There are a total of 58 new cars. 11 of them are headed to the Family Islands and 5 to Grand Bahama. Our final story is up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.